All right. Good morning, all. Yeah, actually, yeah, we will have class at 7 a.m. only, unless and until I tell that there is at 8 a.m. or 7:30 a.m. Okay, then only you can think about the timing, new timing. Okay, but our regular time is 7. Only when I tell that we'll have that class on the particular day, we'll have that. Okay, so let us join on time so that I can start the session. So let me share my screen. Just 1 minute. I'll just share. All right, I'm sharing my screen. So, as I was telling, so the last session, so we will be actually working on the DA. I mean, in this currently now we'll start on the DAO layer. Okay, that is a data access object layer. So our goal is to build this kind of implement this kind of solutioning, and we'll be learning about this kind of solutioning. But our goal is to implement DAO layer. Okay, data access object layer. Now, so this data access object layer can be implemented in using multiple things. So whenever you are using Spring Framework to develop this kind of application, you can use Spring JDBC as a DAO layer. You can implement Hibernate JPA, and you can implement Spring Data. As I was telling, JDBC is the core layer. On top of JDBC, Hibernate JPA has been built, and on top of that, Spring Data has been built. So we'll not be studying Spring JDBC, okay? But we will be focusing on Hibernate JPA and Spring Data in this course. Okay, that is our focus. So once we design this DAO layer, so then we start implementing the other layers, okay? Controller, service, presentation layer and all. So that when we start, so once we complete this, then we'll switch to Spring MVC, then REST API, then we'll see, okay? Then we'll, when the course gets advanced actually. So now let us start using this DAO layer, and let us start with Hibernate. So what is Hibernate? So Hibernate is a ORM. Hibernate is ORM framework or ORM library, okay, which follows JPA specification. Okay, so which follows JPA specification. So what is JPA? JPA is a Java persistent API. Persistent API. Okay, so basically, if you see JPA, what it tells is it is a ORM library. It is a ORM specification. See, ORM is nothing but object relational mapping. Object relational mapping. Object relational mapping. Okay. ORM is nothing but object relational mapping. See, for example, I have say there is a database. Okay. And in the database, so I gave the database introduction and everything in the last session. Okay. So now I have a table called, let us assume there's a table called, say, student, for example. Let us take, there is a table called student. So as I told, RDBMS is a combination of, it is a table structure. Okay. So, I mean, we'll be studying only the logical interface. Okay. So it will be table structure. RDBMS means all the data is stored in the tables, that is rows and columns. But physically there is no table. Okay. As I told, underlying they use files only, but that is not important for us. We use tables actually. And the conversion of tables to the database and all that will be taken care by your database software. Okay, so every table, what is a table actually? If you see in a table will be like this. You just think like this. Okay, it is a logical structure. Say student table means any table will have some columns actually. Okay, will have some, you can think like grid actually, columns. Okay, and what is happening here is each column will have one field actually, like student ID. Student ID. Okay. Next is student name. Student name. Okay. So each column will have, and say student, say will have address, something like that. Okay, just for time being. Now, these are the columns, and there will be record actually. There will be one row. The first part is a column, and in that row, the first column corresponds to one student. Okay, so this is one student. This first row. If you see this row, this record, We'll call it as a row or a record. Okay, this is a row or a record actually. This is a row or record. Okay. Now what will happen is the first column is, we can say, it is related to one student details. Like there is one student called, there is a one student whose ID is 101. Okay, so that 101 will be present in this column, and there will be one more student with, I mean, sorry, the same student will have his name as some Ramesh. Okay, Ramesh or Rajesh. Okay, we can say Rajesh. Okay, and student address, say his address is Hyderabad, say for example. Now you see, this record is one student related details, all that record, and the corresponding attributes or properties of the student, like his ID, his name, his address, is stored in the columns. Okay, so you can think like an Excel sheet. Okay, you can think like an Excel sheet. If you take in Excel sheet, how it will be? See, if you see. Okay, see, if you think in Excel sheet, I'll show you. If you think in Excel sheet, how it will be? See, you can think like this as a Excel sheet as like a table. Okay, that's why even MS Access is used to be accessed like a database, right? MS Access is also one database. You can think like the Excel sheet as a table. So if you take like this student ID, so this is your student ID. Let us take. So let us start from beginning. Okay, let us start this student ID. This is your column. Okay, student name. Okay, and then student address we can say. So student ID is say 101. Student name is Ramesh. Okay, and student address is say Hyderabad. Okay, if you see, this is one student details. This is one particular student details. Now, if you want to enter the second student details, I will enter in the next row, 102. Okay, say Rajesh. Okay, Hyderabad, something like this. If you want to enter another student details, 103. Okay, say Samir. Okay, something like USA. So if you want to enter this, so like this, if I can have, if you see, this is a combination of rows and columns. Okay, so each row belongs to one student, and each column belongs to the property of that student. Okay, now you see. Now let me take this. Like that, I can have any number of students. Okay, now you can think table like this Excel sheet. Okay, now you see. Now whenever we wanted to use applications like Java, okay, now let us do applications like Java. What I'll do is, I have a Java application. Let us assume this is a database. Let us assume this is a database with a table, with a student table. Now I have a Java application. So that connects to this database. How you will connect? So as of the basic technology that you use is the basic library that you use is JDBC. That is how you do actually. Okay, that is how using JDBC you'll connect to this database, get the student related data. Now your Java application is what? It is nothing but objects, right? Your Java application is an object oriented programming. Your Java application is an object oriented program. That means everything in Java you deal with objects. Okay, everything in Java you deal with objects. Now say for example, I can have, this is a student table in the database, right? I can have in the Java application similar to student table. In my Java application, I can have a student class actually, because Java is actually deals with objects and classes, right? That's what object-oriented programming. Now, I can have similar to student table. I can have similar, like in Java, I can have Java class. Okay. Now the student, what is student? Student, what is a class? Class is the blueprint, right? It is actually, class is nothing but the blueprint. And object is a real-time entity. Class is just like a model. Okay, now this class will contain some properties. Okay, it contains some properties. So what are the properties of a student? What are the properties? So the properties of student are int student ID, right? See, generally student ID can be in a int or it can be in string. Next, I can say student first name or student name. Okay, and I can say, let me reduce this size. Okay, then what I say? String address, like this I'll say. Okay, fine. Now my goal is, my objective is objective. Okay, my objective is Java application, to write a Java application or a Java program that connects to database. Okay, read the student table data, read the data from student table, and populate the values from the table into the student objects. Okay, so that is my objective. Okay, so objective is to write a Java program that connect to database, read the data from student table, and populate the values from the table into the student object. What is student object? This one. Now you see, how can I populate general? Just think like this. Just come to a design. As I told, one record in the student table is related to one student. Okay, one student. That means this student is, his name is Ramesh, his address is Hyderabad, his ID is 101. Again, the second student will be in the second record. Record or row. Okay, we can call row or record. The third one is a third student. Okay, the third record is a third student. Like that, I can have any number of students. Now, in object-oriented programming, I can consider one row as one object actually. In an object-oriented programming, I can consider one record as one Java object. One record as one Java object. What is that object? Say, for example, in my Java, I have a student. I can take this as one student object actually. Okay, one record as one student object, and what that student object has? Student ID, student name, and address. And what I do, I take now the columns are there, right? This column, this column, this column. these columns I'll be mapping to the properties actually. That is, the student ID property in this class will be mapped to this column. The student name in this class is mapped to this column. And the address in this class is mapped to this column. So the object, the complete object is one record, and the object will have the properties, right? Those properties are the columns actually. So that means this entire one record is one object. And now what are the columns of this student ID, student name, address? Now what is student ID here? 101. So it will be like this one. Student ID 101. Okay. Next is student name Ramesh. Next address Hyderabad. So this is one object. Now what I can do, I want now the second student. It is only one student object now. I want the second student object. Now this is another row, second row, this one. So the second row will be populated into one more object actually. It is populated into one more object. So this is one object and this is another object. Both objects are different. So though they belong to same class, in memory, all the objects are stored in your memory only, right? In heap memory. So this is one student object and this is another student object. So both addresses are different. Okay. Now what about your third record? Third record also will be stored in another object actually. Now for these three records, I have three different Java objects. The first record is one Java object. And what are the properties of this? Those properties are the field names, the column names, the column values. Okay. What about the second record? Second record is also, it is another Java object. And what about the properties? Those column values. Now, what are the properties of the second object? 102, 102, Rajesh, Hyderabad. Okay. And what are the properties of this third object? 103, Samir, USA. Now I have now these three objects. Now these three are separate objects. Now, but I want, just like how a table is storing each record as a whole unit. Now I want these three objects to be as one unit. So what I'll do, I'll just create one array list. I just create one array list. We know collections, right? That is what Java collections will tell actually. So I'll create one array list. So in that array list, what I'll do, the first element of the array list is this object. I'll be storing now student objects. Now the second element of the array list is this object. And the third element of this array list is this object. Now, if I can read this array list, what I'll get? The first element of the array list is the first student object. The second element of the array list is the second student object. The third element is the third object. Now, in the first element, if I get a student object, what are the properties of that student? Student ID, student name, and address. And what are the values? Those values are the corresponding column values of that particular record or particular row. Okay. That means what you are doing exactly here, we are mapping the relational data. What is your relational data? The data that is present in the database. Relational data is nothing but the table. Relational means it is a tabular data. The data that is present in the database, which is in the form of tables, okay, like rows and columns. The data is mapped to the objects in Java. The data is mapped to the objects in Java. So this concept is called object relational mapping. Okay, this concept is called object relational mapping. Okay, this concept is called object relational mapping. And remember, So in object relational mapping, what is object relational mapping? The data, the relational data. Okay. What is your relational data? Okay, data in, we can say RDBMS, okay, which is relational database. Like what is relational data? Tabular data stored in tables. Tables, okay. As I told, tables are logical interface only. Okay, tables are logical interface. We'll be dealing with tables only. Okay, so tables means rows and columns. Okay, are mapped to okay objects in Java. Objects, okay, objects in, see, generally this ORM is related to any object oriented programming. See, your Java is an object oriented programming. Okay, your even you can, in Python also you can do object oriented programming. In .NET also you can do object oriented programming. Okay, so any object oriented or mapped to objects in an object oriented programming. What is your examples? What are your object oriented programs examples? Java, .NET, okay, C#, .NET. Okay, these are all your object oriented. Even Python also you can object oriented programming. So in all that, so this concept is called object relational mapping. So the relational data, which is your data stored in tables, are mapped to objects in object oriented programming. Okay, so once the data is there in objects, now you can work on that objects, because your Java, for let us take Java, so you can work on the Java objects and you can process the data, you can do anything with the data. Okay, so that is what we call it as an object relational mapping. Okay, now, so this object relational mapping, to achieve this object relational mapping, there are different libraries actually. Okay, in Java, .NET, okay, etc. So in Java, the most popular, see, from now onwards, I'll tell that I'll not tell object relational map. I'll tell shortcut as ORM. Okay, remember, ORM means object relational map. So the most popular ORM library is Hibernate. Okay, the most popular ORM. There are other libraries also. There are other libraries also, but not as popular as Hibernate. There are other libraries also like iBatis. Oh, okay, which is also called MyBatis actually. MyBatis. Okay, then there is one more library, Eclipse Link. Okay, so these are all, but Hibernate is most popular library. Okay, and if you take .NET, in .NET, the most popular ORM library. Okay, I think I don't know that much .NET, but just only knowledge only. Okay, so the most popular ORM library is NHibernate. See, Java, it is Hibernate, and in .NET it is NHibernate. N means .NET Hibernate. Okay, so like that, I think Python also there are some ORM libraries. I'm not aware on that. Like that, actually, any object-oriented programming will have ORM libraries. Okay, so in Java, the most popular library is Hibernate, and even your Spring Boot also uses Hibernate as the ORM library. That's why we have to study. That's why we are studying Hibernate. Otherwise, if our course is Spring, our target course is Spring Boot actually. Yeah, just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. See, our target course is Spring Boot actually. So Spring Boot also uses Hibernate as a default ORM library. So that is the reason we are here to study Hibernate. Okay. Otherwise, we will not study Hibernate, right? Okay. So though we use Spring Boot or not, Hibernate is actually, that knowledge Hibernate is very important. Okay. Because Hibernate is actually the most popular ORM and DO library. Okay, fine. As I told, okay, fine. Why we need actually, so let us take now Java. Okay, forget about .NET and Python. Okay, that is not matter for us. Now consider only Java related. Okay, why we need actually Hibernate? As I told, Java uses JDBC, right? Java uses JDBC to connect to database, and populate. Uh, I mean, and work with the data. Okay, then we can use JDBC only to do this ORM, right? See, after all, ORM is nothing but taking the data from the table and populating and mapping to that objects in the Java. We can do that in JDBC also. But why we need again separate libraries like Hibernate and do? We can do all the thing in JDBC also. Yes, we can do. Actually, if you see, JDBC is the part. On top of JDBC, as I told you, on top of JDBC only this JPI has come. Okay. See, JPI means Java Persistent API. Okay. What JPI will do, it is a specification actually. It is a specification. See, specification means it will tell that how many. It will tell that how many. That is like how to like. It will tell that specification is nothing but how to, or it will tell like what to do in ORM. What to do in ORM. What to do in object relational. That means like saving the data, reading the data, okay, updating the data, deleting the data. So these are all your specifications. And what actually this is provided by your the Java team only. Okay, the specification is provided by Java team. Like earlier, it used to be Sun Microsystems, and now Oracle has taken that, right? Sun Microsystems. Now it is Oracle. Okay. So JPA provides some specifications actually. Okay. Like what to do in ORM, like saving the data, reading the data, updating the data, deleting the data, what to do. Okay. For this, to achieve this ORM, okay, to achieve this object relational map. Now using this specification, right? Using this specification, third-party vendors, okay, vendors like Hibernate team, okay, like Hibernate, like Ibatis, okay, Eclipse Link, okay, and anyhow, I think Eclipse Link Oracle has taken that now. So they came forward and they used the specification. There are third-party vendors like Hibernate. They took the specification. They took the JPA specification, and started implementing their own libraries, and our own libraries, okay, functions to implement ORM. So that is what actually they have done. Third-party vendors like Hibernate, Ibatis, Eclipse Link, they took the JPA specification, started implementing their own libraries, functions to implement ORM. Okay, so that is what actually. So JPA is only the specification. Okay, you can think like in a specification means it is like just like an interface. In a Java world, you can think like an interface, and something has to implement that interface, right? In interface, what I do, I just define the methods. What methods I will define. But it is the class which implements that interface, right? Interface only define the method. So JPA, you can think like a specification. Specification is like an interface, and these libraries, Eclipse, these are implementations of that interface. Okay, so to achieve ORM, we'll use Hibernate and do that. Okay, fine. Keeping aside this, why can't we use directly JDBC and connect to database and work with the data? Fine, we can do that. I'll show you one example, just a simple JDBC, and then I'll show you some just complication in this, and then I'll tell you. Then that is the reason this ORM libraries have come. I'll just show you one simple program. Okay, the same program I'll tell you. See, I know this might be familiar to others also, but I want to touch the basics. Okay, I want to touch this basics. Okay, JDBC program. Okay, just so file, I'll create one Maven project. Let me now create one quick start project. It is a simple JDBC demo. Okay, it is a JDBC demo. Okay, it is not related to Hibernate or anything, just a JDBC demo. Okay. So what I'll do is, okay, I'll change this to 1.5 to 1.8. Now you see. Okay. So what I'll do is, I will actually import one. I'm using MySQL database. Okay. You can also use MySQL. I'm using 5.5. It has been there from many days from me. You can use MySQL 8 actually. Okay. So what you can do is, I'm just opening this database. Okay. This is my password of the database. Okay. So this is my password. This database is in my local. Okay. Now I have different databases. Okay. Because I created for this training purposes. Let me create for your training. I'll create one more database. Okay. These are all my databases. Okay. Okay. I developed some projects also in this database just for training purpose. Okay. So let me now create one database for in this MySQL. Another database, like for your database, we'll use this database. Okay. So create database. I'll just say my training DB. Okay. Let me give like this, my training DB. Okay. Like this also. Okay. This is my database. Okay. Now this is how I can create a database. If I want to switch it to this database, you have to use the command like this, use my training DB. Okay. My training DB. Now let me create now one sample table. Okay. Like student. Okay. That is example we'll take student ID and student name. Okay. Now let me create one sample table. As I told, we'll be working with the logical interface, which is SQL. Okay. Okay. SQL. Okay. Which makes us easy to do any operation in the database. Okay. What I'll say, I'll just say create a table. Okay. See, this is the structure of, this is the syntax for creating a table. Create a table, student. I'll say student ID. I'll give the column names. I should specify it, what the student contains. Student ID, student ID, student name, address. I'll say like that, student ID. I'll say student ID or, okay. See, generally in the database, we give underscore as a column names, or we can go like this also. Okay, student ID. This is your Java convention. These are the how you'll do in Java property names, right? We can go in this way. Generally in database, generally by default, they'll go like this, student underscore. I mean, I'm just telling the naming conventions, how we can give. Okay, we can go like this, or we can go in the Java convention style also. Okay, not an issue. So like the student ID, I'll say some int actually. Okay, int. So there is a data type in SQL, int, for integer data types, and I'll say this as a primary key. I'll tell what is this primary key and all that. Primary key means there should be a unique record in the table. Okay, I'll tell you this concept. Okay, I'll tell you this concept. Primary key. Okay, student ID primary key. Next, student. See, it is, you can think like primary key as in your Java. Say, for example, you have an hash map. So there should be one a hash map key, right? There should be a key in the hash map, right? So that is what in your Java. So key means it is a unique record. It identifies that unique record. Okay. For example, in a class, you are being identified by your ID. Say there are two students with same name. There are two students with same name, but every student will have his own ID, student ID. So that is the primary key. Okay, that is a primary key. Okay, you can think like that. Okay, but I'll explain in detail because there's a larger topic on this primary key. Okay, I'll tell you on that. Okay, there's a very major topic I have to explain on this. Now, student name. So this is your student name, and this is a string actually, right? Student name is a string. In SQL, we call it as varchar of 20. So 20 means it will take some around maximum 20 characters like that. Okay, and then I'll say address. Okay, address also I'll just say address means here it is only city. I'll not give the complete address. It is only like city or country or something like that. Just for testing purpose only. Okay, this is not a real address. Okay, now let me. This is my table now. I just take this table and now I just execute this table. Okay, now table got created. If you want to see the script the table has created, you can go like this: show create table student. See, this is my table script that got created. Okay, this is the table script. See, this is my script, and by default your SQL uses MySQL uses InnoDB. There is a MySQL engine actually. Okay, it is your database engine where it uses InnoDB internally. Okay, there is MySQL. InnoDB is a part of MySQL software actually. Okay, now this is my table that got created. Now let me insert some records in this table. So to insert some records in the table, I go with some statements like insert. Okay, insert into student values. I give some student ID primary key 101. Student name I'll give Ramesh. Address Hyderabad. Okay, this is one student. What I'll do, I'll give another student 102. Rajesh. Okay, I'll give Hyderabad. Okay, I'll give one more student 103. I'll say Samir USA. Okay, something like this. Okay, I'll just execute these tables. Okay, one row got inserted. Again, I'm inserting the second row. See what I'm doing in the table student 101 is your first column. I have to follow the order. First column. What is your student name? This is the second column. Student name. This address is the third column. So I'm following the order actually. Okay, and I'm inserting. So one insert statement is for one record. Okay, this is for one record. That is one student data. The second record I'm inserting. Second also is inserted. Now third also I'm inserting. Now if I say, now I can get the data from this table using select star from student. See, whatever I'm doing all SQL. Okay, these are all SQL operations. So okay, you should have minimum just knowledge on this SQL. Okay, so this is your select star from student. If I select this, I get the data like this. Okay, student ID, student name, address 101 Ramesh Hyderabad, 102 Rajesh Hyderabad. Okay, like this I will get. Okay, so this is how I'll okay, so this is how I get like this. Okay, now let us write a Java program. Let us write a Java program to connect to this database and get the data and populate it. Okay. Now let us write a Java program. What I'll do is in my pom.xml, right? I'll be using one library. Okay. See, every database will have some library to connect from Java. Say, for example, if I'm using MySQL, right? I have to add one dependency. Okay. I have to add one dependency, which is group ID. I have to add, which is MySQL. And I'll use artifact ID. Okay, I'll use as MySQL connector. Say if you're using Oracle database, you have to use Oracle connector. If you're using PostgreSQL, you have to use according to that. Okay, every application will use a MySQL or that specific database connector to connect to the database. Okay, so I'll just use MySQL connector Java. Okay, and I'll use some version. See, I'm using 5.5 version. Those who are using the latest version 8, they can use that. Okay, that version will be 8 actually. I'm using 5 version. So I'm just using 5.1.49. That's all. Okay, this is my dependency for MySQL. Okay, MySQL connector Java 5.1.49. Whereas I'm using MySQL 5 version. Now, let me now start a simple JDBC program. Okay, very simple JDBC program. So what is that simple JDBC program is? Let me start that simple JDBC. What I'll do is, okay, I'll just use like, okay, I'll use like this. See, I think to load a JDBC, I should use one driver. Okay, what are the steps in JDBC? I'm just recollecting the basics. Okay, register the driver. Register the driver. Because from Java, you should connect using JDBC using driver. Register the driver. Next, get the driver manager object. Okay. See, I'm not explaining, I'm not JDBC explaining. So I'm just only telling the basics. Okay. So create prepared statement object. Create a prepared statement object. Okay. Get the driver manager object, get the database connection object, or create the connection object. Create the prepared statement object. Execute the SQL query from prepared statement object. So these are the steps. Okay, get the result of the SQL query. So these are the important steps in JDBC. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then what we have to do? Close the connection object. So these are the important steps in JDBC. Okay, I'm not telling JDBC topic. Okay, just I'm telling that just the basics. Okay, important JDBC topics. Because if I tell JDBC, it is a separate. It will take a long time actually. So, important JDBC point. Important JDBC steps to be implemented. Okay, prepared statement object is the one which is actually obtained from the connection object. Your connection means, see, you have an application like this. See, you have a Java application. Okay, now you want to connect to the database. Say this is your database. Okay, this is your database. You want to connect your Java application to the database. So to connect, you should use some. There should be a database connection, right? There should be a database connection. Without the connection, you cannot connect actually, right? So this database connection is created by your connection object. Connection object in Java. Okay, this is your connection object. See, once you get a connection from Java to the database, right? Once you get a connection, what you do? Then you create one. There is a class called prepared statement. Okay, prepared statement or statement also is there, but prepared statement is more advanced. Actually. Okay, statement from the connection object, where from the Java itself you can specify some SQL queries. What SQL queries you want to perform from Java to database. So that you will be specifying in the prepared statement and execute this prepared statement. So once you execute this prepared statement, what it will do, these SQL queries gets executed in the database, because your database will understand SQL only, right? So your database will understand SQL. So it will execute the SQL queries and it will give the result. So this is how the whole process on a simple way, if I want to tell. So first a connection object. From the connection object, you will create a prepared statement. From prepared statement, you will execute the queries and do that. Okay. And how you will get the connection object? You will get through some driver. Okay. There will be a driver actually. So through driver, you will get that. Okay. Driver is nothing but for every database, there will be one driver. For MySQL, there is one driver. For Oracle database, there is one driver. For PostgreSQL, there is one driver. And the driver library is like this. Your driver library is part of this library, this one. Okay. For PostgreSQL, you will have different library. For Oracle, you will have different library. For MySQL, you will have different libraries. Okay. So first, that is the reason. First, you should get a driver. Okay. Driver and driver manager. Okay. From the driver, you will get the driver manager. Then you will get the connection object from the driver manager. Then prepared statement from the connection object. Okay. Create the prepared statement. See, create the connection object from driver manager. So you have to follow like this. Create the prepared statement create the connection object from driver manager. Create prepared statement from connection. Execute the SQL query from prepared statement. Get the result of the SQL query. Close the connection. That's all. Okay. Now let us start using this. First, register the driver. So how can it register the driver is using class.forName. Okay, class.forName, I told you, right? There are two ways of creating an object. One using new operator, and another class.forName. This is a dynamic way of creating. I think I told this first time when I told in the first class, factory class. At that time I told there are two ways of creating one object. One is static way, another is dynamic way. Okay, so I'm registering the driver through this dynamic way. Com dot MySQL dot JDBC dot driver. Okay, this is your class package, which is part of com.mysql.jdbc driver. That is, this class is present in this library. If you don't use this library, this package is not recognized. Okay, you have to include that. Like for Oracle, you'll have one driver. For Postgres, some corresponding dependencies you have to add here. Okay, now let me put this as throws exception, because this is throwing some exception. So what I'll do is now, I'll say like this now. I'll say like this. I'll say prepared statement, or I'll say like this. Connection is equal to null. Okay, now, okay. What I'll do is connection is equal to null. And I'll say try connection. Okay, I'll just say like this, connection. And all are part of your java.sql package. Okay, java.sql package. Now what I'll do is I'll say connection is equal to. Now from first I have to get the driver manager, right? Get the driver manager up and create the connection object from driver manager. So get the driver management, register the driver, I got already here. If I do like this, I get a driver manager and driver. Now what I'll do now, driver manager dot get connection. get connection. I'll say like this. See, this is the standard way we have to use for JDBC, okay, driver. So I have to specify which database. So JDBC colon MySQL colon /. See, I have to use which database. So currently I'm connecting to my local database only, okay? My database is also in my local machine. So I'll use localhost actually. 3306. This is your default SQL MySQL port actually. See, if my database is in some other machine, I'll use the IP address or the host name. I'll show you that also when we do the projects, setting up the database in another machine. And in real time, we have to use like that only, okay? We have to use here instead of localhost, we have to go for IP address and our host name, okay? Currently, my database is also the same machine. I'm using localhost. And what I do is localhost / and I created just now one DB, right? What is a DB? That database. It is nothing but my training DB. So I'll use this DB, okay? So what it does, I'll just, because why we are specifying all these details in your connection object? Because your application should know the address of the database, right? To where it has to connect. So that address I'm specifying here, okay? Which database, what is the IP address, port number, and everything, okay? So this is your thing. And then I have to specify the username and password also, okay? So the username for my default database is root and password is secret. Because it is my local thing only. Okay, I'll just say like this. Now you see. This is my connection object. Okay, I got a connection object from here. Driver manager.get connection of this one. This is your JDBC colon MySQL. This is your database name, and this is the username, and this is the password. Okay, once I got the connection object, right? So what I'll do now, I'll create one prepared statement. Okay, prepared statement. So prepared statement. So prepared statement I'll get from connection object is equal to null. Now I'll say like this. Connection dot prepare statement. Okay. Now what is a table? I have to specify now the SQL query. Okay. Just like how I specified in my database, like this, say select star from student. So I got that data, right? I'll use the same query now. I'll use the same query, but I'll specify this from my Java application in this prepared statement. That's all. Okay. What I'll do now, I'll just say pstmt dot execute query. Now I have to execute this, okay? Execute this query. So execute query means this query gets executed in the database now from the Java application. Now this will return a result set actually. So RS is equal to null. I'll just say this is a result set, okay? So after executing the query, I get a result set. So result set means the execution of this query is stored in the result set object. That means all these records will be stored in the result set in the Java. Now what I'll do is now, I will iterate over this result set. What I'll do is, this result set contains rows and columns, right? So I'll iterate row by row while rs dot next. While rs dot next. See what rs dot next will do is, what rs dot next will mean, it will start from the first row. Okay, it will start from the first row. When I say rs dot next, right, it will go to the second record or second row. Again, in the loop, again, when I say rs dot next means, it will go third record. And your loop will stop once your end of the record is reached. So first, it will start from here. Okay, your heading, when I say while rs dot next means, it is a while loop. So it will come to the first record. Next, it will check rs dot next means, again, it goes to the second record. Rs dot next means third record. Okay, so that is your while loop will do like that. So it will iterate over the records. Okay, iterate over the table records. Now what I'll do now, I'll say rs dot get string of, now for each record now once it comes into the loop, for each record or for each row or record, get the column values. How I will get, see, this is an ID, right? Student ID. I'll say rs dot get int of student ID. I'll say like this. So since it is an integer column, I'm putting get int, and this I'm assigning to one integer student ID. I'm assigning to a Java variable. Okay. Now what I'll do now, I'll say now string student name. Student name is a string. I'll say rs dot get string of, I'll say student name. That means this column name will be student name. Okay. Then what I'll do, string of address. I'll just say like this, address is equal to rs dot get string of address. I'll say like this. So each column, okay, for each row or record, get the column values. And now you see, as I told, for each record in Java, what is your each record in Java? Each record in Java is one object. Each row or each record in Java is one object. So that means now all these three values I have to put in one object. Okay. So let me create one object in the loop, inside the loop actually. Student, I'll say like this, student is equal to new student. I have to define a student, right? The student I have to define as a class now. Now go to your new class student. So what are the properties? Just like how you have for database table, I'll have now for student also I'll have properties. Private, it is a POJO class. Private int student ID. Next, a private string student name. Private string address. Now I'll just generate setters and getters. Source generate getters and setters. So what I'll do, I'll just tell like this. Okay, in my app.java, I created one for each row record. I'm creating one student object. Now, why I'm creating inside the loop? Why not outside the loop? Why I'm creating only inside the loop? Why not outside the loop? Why can't I create like this? Anyone can tell? Why I'm creating inside? Why can't I create like this? Why I'm creating here? Why can't I do like this? Anyone can tell? Anyone can tell? Why I'm creating the student object inside this while loop? Why can't I create the student object outside the loop like this, outside? Yeah. Yes, Rajesh. So what about others? Yeah, new student object, correct. Yes, Vivek, yes. So, see, as I told, for each record or row, we should have one student object, right? That is the actual thing. For each record or row, there will be one student object. I can't have one object to store all the records, because if I store all the records in one object, means I can get only one record. Only one record will be available at a time. But I have to have each record one student object. That means each loop, in the loop, I should have one student object, so that the particular record the particular row from the table will be mapped to the student object. Okay. Now what I do is, now I create one array list here. List of student. Outside the loop, I create students is equal to, I create one array list that takes student objects actually. Okay, I'll take this one. And what I'll do is I'll just say students dot, I'll add the student object to this. That means each row I'm creating like this. I'm adding the students object like this. See, I'm creating an array list outside the while loop. And inside that, I'm adding that in that each student object array list. So that what will happen now, if you see in this scenario, if you see here, it will be like this now. Okay. So now this is my table, my database table. So this is your student table. We have rows and columns, student ID, student name, address. Okay, this is your student ID. Okay, student ID. Okay, I'll just put ID. Okay, I'll just put ID or student ID. Student ID. Student ID. Next, student name. Student name. And I'll say address. Now, so in this table, there will be 3 records now. 1, 2, 3. Now what I'm doing now, when I say while rs.next, it will iterate row by row. That means the first row will come here. In the next loop, it will go to the second row. In the next loop, it will go to the third row. Now for the first row, when it comes to the first row, in the first row, okay, in the first row, that means this row, where it will go inside the loop. So this record, this complete record, now has to be put in the student object. This complete record has to be put in the second student object. So that the student ID will be set to this, the student name will be set here, the address will be set here. And I say rs.getIdent of student ID means this is the column name actually. This is your column name. So this is your column name and this is your column name. The name of the column I'm giving here in the double quotes. Now, when it comes to the next, now what I'm doing, once I create the student object, I'm adding to that list. Now I'm creating one array list. In that list, I'm adding the student object. Now it goes to the next loop now, second iteration. In the second iteration, it will come again inside. It will come again inside. It will create one more student object. It will create one more student object for what? For the second row now. For the second row. It will create one more new student object. Then the column values will be populated in this variable. And what I do, I'm creating one more array list. In the same array list, which is declared outside the loop, I'm adding one more object now. That means this one. That means another object is added here. Like that, the third row, fourth row, like that. Now my array list now contains now collection of objects, collection of student objects. Now when I iterate over this list, I get the first student object, the second student object, the third student object, like that I get iteration. Okay, that's what I do now. So that's what I'm doing now. That's why I declared an array list outside the loop so that I'll have one single list. In that single list, I can store multiple student objects where one student object belongs to one record or one row in a table. Okay, that is what your object relational mapping does. ORM does that way. In the same way, it will work actually. Okay, but I'm just showing that you how we can do without using ORM, using just a plain JDBC. Okay, that's all. Now what I'll do is, yeah, I'll just say catch exception ex dot print stack trace. That's all. And what I'll do finally, so I have to close the connection object. Okay, I have to close the prepared statement object and connection object. Okay, closing is very important. Okay, don't write your projects without closing, otherwise you'll get a lot of memory issues if you don't close the connection objects. Okay, this is what you do. Now this is how actually you got, but how to read the records? I can iterate from this list, right? What I can do now, this is my try block, right? Okay, let me come to the catch block. I mean, before the catch block, okay, I'll just iterate over the students. So what I'll do, print the data from student objects. So what I'll do, for student, I'll say like this. This is my list, right? I'm iterating over this list. I'll say like this. System dot, I'm just printing, that's all, okay? Println, okay? I'll say student dot get student ID plus student dot get student name plus student dot get student get address. I'm printing now all the columns in one line, so that next line will be next record. Now you see, let me run this program now. Let me run this program. Zero null. Why? Okay, why means why? Anyone can tell. I realized the mistake where I did, but from your end, anyone can tell why null are coming. I realized the mistake. I found the mistake. See, I created an object, right? Where I set the properties. See, we populated the array list, but I created the object, student object. But student has to be, we have to use this, we have to set these properties, right? In the student properties, right? See, then only if I get student ID, I'll get the values, right? So let me do that. Student dot, I have to set that properties, right? Set student ID. Next, student dot, set student name. Okay. Student dot, set address. I have to set like this, right? Then only what it will do, it will set that values, it will call the setter values. We have seen this in dependency injection, right? So set student ID, so the properties are being assigned. And then once I get the student ID, then I'll get the values of it, right? I did not set these values. I just create an empty object, that's all, and adding that in the list. Okay, now let me run this program now. Okay. So now I got the data now. From the database, each record is one row. 101 Ramesh Hyderabad, 102 Rajesh Hyderabad, 107, whatever it is in there in the table, database table. So I got the same records here. Okay. So this is what similar model your ORM does. What we are doing, for each record, we are taking the values from the columns and populating that in the object, populating that in the student object. So your ORM does the same way. But you might think, no, we can use the same kind, right? Why we need again separate? Why we need to study Hibernate? Because we can use all the JDBs and do the coding like this. See, how many lines of the code you have? Almost you have, to do this simple operation, you have 57 lines. Approximately, if you can think the main method, remove that, almost you have some 30 lines of code. To populate this, to get the data from here using JDBC, so if we use JDBC, plain JDBC, and use ORM, object relational mapping. So I from now on, I'll tell ORM, okay? I'll not tell object relational mapping. If you use plain JDBs and implement ORM, almost for simple ones, for one single object itself, for one single object, it will take some 20 lines of code. We have seen this, like almost it is taking, if you remove the main method try catch block, it will take around 20 lines of code. Remember, I'll tell you, using Hibernate, that is using ORM library like Hibernate, just in 2 to 3 lines of code, we can achieve the same. So that is one main difference actually. Okay, if you use plain JDBC, this is a plain JDBC code actually. Okay, this is a plain JDBC code. To do this plain JDBC code and work on this, it will take almost some, see 30 lines of code is taking, right? You can see that, you can count it approximately. Okay, but with JDBC, with Hibernate, just in 2 to 3 lines of code, we can achieve the same, okay? Okay, and say also, in real-time scenarios, if we have complex objects and relations between the objects, as I told you, right, in Spring dependency also, one object is dependent on other object, like employee is dependent on department, department is dependent on organization. Like that, if you have relationship between the objects, and if you want to do ORM, and all these objects data is present in the database actually, tables. And if you want to establish the relationship between all these objects and do using plain JDBC, almost the code length becomes very complex. And also you have to write manually everything. You have to handle all that logic, all the relations between the objects and all that. But if you use ORM library like Hibernate, just within a very simple way, you can even achieve this complex objects and relationships and everything. So all that we are going to study in Hibernate, okay? So when in Hibernate, so we'll study from basics to the complex object relations and everything, okay? So that it will be easy for you. So that is the reason. So in Hibernate, we can achieve easily the really complex object relations and ORM, okay, in a very simple way, without much coding, without much lines of code. Okay, without much lines of code. So that is the result we are studying Hibernate. Okay, so that is the reason we are studying Hibernate. Now, what we will do is, we'll stop here. Tomorrow onwards, what I'll do is, we'll enter into actual Hibernate. That means what I'll do, I'll take this program now. I'll start converting this program to Hibernate. So we'll enter into HTML to start basics of Hibernate and convert the JDBC program. Convert this whatever we have written, this JDBC program. This is a JDBC program, okay? Convert the JDBC program to Hibernate. And we can see the difference. JDBC program is taking 30 lines of code. And Hibernate will take just in approximately 3 to 4 lines. Okay? And as I told, Hibernate also internally uses JDBC only. Okay, remember, I think I told this in last session only. Okay, see, your JDBC is the core part. Okay, this is your Java application. Okay, now you are using Hibernate now. Okay, Hibernate. When I say Hibernate, it is a Hibernate JPA. Okay, JPA is a specification and Hibernate is an implementation. Okay, Hibernate JPA. Now, your Java will connect to this, you will use Hibernate JPA, but internally, right? Internally, which is hidden from you, that doesn't matter, okay, for you. Internally, Hibernate uses JDBC only. But you are not concerned about that. Now for you, you doesn't matter for you. You will not see this JDBC. You will work only with the Hibernate. This is only the visible part for you. But internally, this Hibernate framework or library will use internally JDBC. They have written their code like that actually, but we'll use only those libraries actually here. Okay, and internally they will connect to the database. You can see that your Java is using Hibernate and connect to the database. You can see in that way. You can see like this actually. But internally, what is happening, right? Like Hibernate is using JDBC only to connect to the database. But from Java, you will see like you'll use Hibernate and connect to the database. But internally, Hibernate is just JDBC only. Don't forget that concept. Okay, that is a basic. But for you, it doesn't matter. You will not interact. Your Hibernate will interact with JDBC. Okay, so you'll use Hibernate libraries and do that. That's all. Okay. So tomorrow onwards, what we'll do is we'll start studying Hibernate concepts, the basics, and everything we'll study from tomorrow, and start writing the programs on Hibernate. Okay. Okay, I'm just giving unmute access to all. Yeah. If you have any doubts, I have given unmute access.